Let's say you are at home and you have a browser with internet access and you want to perform literature survey and deliver a document. So how do we go about? Here is some help. So I have a set of lectures that I have recorded as part of NPTEL MOOC on Introduction to Research. So these lectures have the following aspects covered. The 4 of them are actually on a panel discussion on what constitutes research, and then I have an overview on literature survey, which you can go through to see what are the different strategies to arrive at a set of references for your document. There are 2 videos that show you how to do literature survey using Web of Science and Scopus. These 2 are subscription based indexing services. So if your university has paid the subscription, then you will have access to these 2 resources. I have also put up a video on how to wrap up this literature survey into a document, and this document should contain the references, and using BibTeX references you can make a LaTeX document that looks good for presentation, and this has been illustrated in one of the videos. If you are used to a visual environment to prepare your document using Microsoft Word, then you can actually make use of these bibliographic sources as XML format, and that is described in one of these videos. And you can also enter manually these references at the end of the document using EndNote, and that's also described. Now comes the question that you are actually at home and you don't have access to these resources that are subscribed for you from your university. So what do we do? So here is the scenario how it works. Most of the websites that offer subscription based services for journal articles or indexes actually will recognize who is authorized to access these resources from the specific IP address from which they come. So when you are actually working from your campus, your computer is actually connected through the LAN to the gateway, and this gateway has a specific IP address which is then recognized by the subscription service, such as for example Web of Science, and they have already received the subscription payment, so they will then provide you the article which you can receive. Now when you are not in campus, this is not so. So what happens when you are not in campus is as follows. Your campus is still having this subscription, so you are eligible to have access to it. So somebody in the university, in the IT department, should provide you with what is called the virtual private network access, so that from outside the campus you connect to the VPN that will give you visibility as if you are from the campus, and through the campus access you can then access the subscription services. So the subscription service provider is looking at you as if you are coming from the campus, and then you will be able to receive the document. So it would actually be routed through the campus, through the VPN onto your computer. Now this is a scenario when you are actually having a situation where university you are belonging to has these subscriptions. Now what happens when you are actually all by yourself, that is your university does not have any subscription, or you are actually not part of any university? So you are then trying to access the subscription services directly as an individual, and you would not get anything back because you have not paid the subscription. So in this scenario it is important to then see what are the different other sources where without any subscription fees, maybe with some limited access, you can actually see some of the archival literature sources, and they are as follows. So indexing services, as these are called, are actually falling into 2 major categories, which is subscription based or free and open. So there's a third category which is given here as a third party because they charge you some money for some specific access, but there are some basic services which are free. So while Scopus and Web of Science are subscription based, there are also a large number of indexing services that are free, and the first of them will be Google Scholar. So please do try it out for accessing articles during the time when you are not able to reach any of these sources of literature through your university subscriptions. And there is a website which is quite recent, semanticscholar.org. This site actually is powered by artificial intelligence techniques, so that they can map the articles, the sources, and different connections between these fields to arrive at the impact of an article, impact of a citation, etc. So it's a pretty good website, and you should explore that. ResearchGate is again quite popular today, and you should look at it because you can actually gain access to the complete text of the article, because once you logged in, then this sharing becomes peer-to-peer with consent from the author of the article, which is permitted by the copyright. So you have ability to get access to some of the full text once you are a member of the ResearchGate website, which is actually free. There is another website called crossref.org, which is quite useful for those who work in the physics related topics. You can actually look at articles across a large number of publishers using this website. Harvard actually also has a repository of articles in physics and astronomy, and it has a very powerful user interface. You should look at it for subjects that fall in the broad category of physics. Most of the physicists actually submit their manuscripts to archive.org website to have a timestamp on when they submitted the manuscript for review. And this preprint is as good as the final paper, and you will have access to it in the complete text form on this website. So have a look at it for some of the articles, and you may want to also check whether such an article has been published in a journal later. Then you can revise the reference of that article to that of the journal. There is also a website from the Microsoft under the Microsoft Academic indexing service, which is also quite good in searching for articles in a particular domain. Third party sites like academia, you can actually log in and have access to some of the articles, and if you are willing to pay a small amount every month, then you can have much broader access. Similar is also possible with Mendeley. So you may want to have a look at them in case you have this requirement of looking at articles for a long duration. So to prepare a document based upon your literature survey, then you have ability to do it over the browser and with just an internet connection without having to install anything on your computer. And today that is possible in two different manners. One is the visual manner, where you have an environment where as you type you can see how it is going to look like when you print. And this is offered by the Microsoft 365 or Office 365 environment. The files are stored on OneDrive. The free subscription that is available on this is quite good for most of our basic needs. And there's also a equally powerful environment using Google Docs. The files will be stored on Google Drive. You can also look at that to make some of your documents. My own favorite would be the programmatic way of preparing a document, mainly because it gives you a lot of control on how the information will be rendered, and many features such as automatically listing the contents, the list of figures, list of tables, numbering of equations, and then the references at the end of the document sorted in a particular manner. All of these actually quite easily done in a LaTeX programming environment, which is for the document preparation, which is fully free. And there is a service available on Overleaf, which is a browser based service to make this LaTeX document preparation quite easy. It is freely available for a limited number of documents, I think, but you can also pay for unlimited storage if you are interested. So my suggestion is that use this free time at home to learn more about how to prepare articles using the LaTeX environment, and store your documents on Overleaf. You can share them with some others and collaboratively author the documents, and then have fun preparing your documents on literature survey. in this period when you are stuck at home but have access to internet and a browser. When it comes to typesetting documents, I would recommend the LaTeX environment, and here we have a website which helps you know more about the so-called LaTeX project. So look at this website, get to know about the LaTeX environment. The tools are available for all platforms, and what is interesting today is that we have a web-based LaTeX document preparation system available at the website overleaf.com. So you can see the website is allowing you to register for an account using a Google account, and then you can actually get into the system readily. I have already created my account, and I will do that with my Google ID. You can start a new document in Overleaf by clicking on the link New Project on the left hand side menu. You could choose Example Project under the menu and give the name. So let us say Write Up 1 for example. And what Overleaf does is open the document with some text that is already put in for us to see. Okay, and it has 3 panes. The first pane shows the files. The second pane shows the actual text that is used to compile the document. The third pane shows the preview of the PDF document created from the text file. So the text file is what is there in the middle. You can edit it now, and let me start editing by first making the document of A4 paper size and 12-point font. Okay, and I recompile, and the paper size is now reset to A4. Now we can change the title of the document here, and I want to illustrate a literature survey on a topic called undercooling. So I would say a brief overview of undercooling. Okay, and we can keep the date as we like, and you could see that immediately on the pane on the right hand side PDF overview you have this title and the author name, everything coming quite neatly. The text can be edited, so here you could edit the text as you like. So I would just edit it in this manner. Here comes a brief overview of the top undercooling to illustrate how to use openly available literature sources during the lockdown time. Okay, and compile, and you would see the text has changed there. Now this image you could actually change it by uploading it on the first pane using the upload button, and once you change you can copy the file name at this location, okay, without the .jpg ending. If you want the image to be scaled, you can use this number to change, and the caption, bigger caption can be given, okay, here, and here is a label which you use to refer to the figure in the text. Okay, so how do we refer? We can write it here, the figure reference, and reference is readily available, shows a sample image of our universe. So compile this. Now you would see that we are actually making a reference to the figure. The figure number is 1, so this reference to the figure called universe is now translated to 1 because we have one figure there. If you add more figures, then the numbers will keep incrementing automatically. Now you have in the bottom the bibliography given, and references is the name of the file which contains the bibliographic items, and there is a file called references.bib which contains these items. So let us have a look at it. How does it look like? So it contains the nickname for the bibliographic item here, you can see here, and it contains the title, author, and other details as required for the type of bibliographic item. So for an article, the items will be slightly different from a book or a conference proceedings. So our idea of doing literature survey is to pick up these details for every article that we want to refer. So we could actually pick them up from various literature sources, and I will be illustrating that shortly. Okay, so let us just start using the literature sources, and the first one I would show you is using the Google Scholar. So we go to scholar.google.in, and here let us say I want to search for undercooling, and there are a bunch of articles that will come. So let us say we want to look at the article. We just click on the article title here. If the PDF is available for free, you can look at it. Otherwise, at least you can look at the abstract and decide whether that's a suitable article for your survey. And once you pick up an article that is suitable and you want to talk about it, you will have to pick up the bibliographic details of that particular article. So let us do that, for example, for this article, and look at the image of the quote symbol here. It says cite. So when you click on that, you would see the citation of that particular article, and the different ways of rendering that bibliographic item are illustrated here, and we can choose the style as we like while preparing the LaTeX file. So the information can be obtained in 4 different formats, and we will pick up in the format of BibTeX. So click on that, and you would see that the data is available readily for us. You can copy paste it. Okay, copy and paste it in the references file below. Okay, now this is the nickname for that particular item, bibliographic item. We have to have it unique for every item, and we can keep it as small as we like. So Wilde06 is sufficient for us to say, and we can come here and make a reference to that. So we can say here Wilde et al. Have studied undercooling recently, let us say, and we make a citation of that, and it's readily available for us to pick up, and click on that here. And when you recompile, you would notice that the text we entered is given with the reference as number 2, and the second reference is the bibliographic item that we just entered. So this way we can actually start adding the different references to the document. So shortly we will see how we can pick up these reference details that we can copy paste in the bib file one after another. The second way of obtaining literature from publicly available literature sources is ResearchGate, and let us open that site. Here also you need to register and log in. I have already done that by logging in with my Google account. In case you have not logged in, how the screen looks like is like this. You could log in using your LinkedIn account or Google account or Facebook account. I have registered with my account already, so I would log in. Okay, so I have logged in, and we can readily start searching for articles under a particular topic. So I choose the same topic and look at the articles. So here in various tabs you have various types of hits for this keyword. So we go to the tab under publications, and here we see different publications that match the criterion which we gave, namely the keyword saying it should contain undercooling in the abstract or in the title, etc. So we can actually request for the file, and we can get it if the author has made it available on the site, which actually is a very nice way, because we don't need subscription to the journal that way. It is coming from a clause in the copyright where authors can actually share directly an article of their publication to those who they get a request from over email. So let us pick some article that we want to refer, and here is one article, let us say I want to refer. So we can actually look at the full text by requesting for it and read it to see whether it is suitable for our survey. Now assuming that it is suitable, we now need to have the bibliographic data for that article. So here beside the link request full text, there is a button which if you click, there is a item available here to export the citation. So click on that, and you can actually export the citation in different formats. BibTeX is the format that we choose, and the citation is adequate for us to do. Now when you click on the download button, it would actually open the file as a downloadable bib file, and you can open that and copy paste the bibliographic information. So I have done that. I have copied, and here I can then paste that information from that file and come to the main file here to make a reference to that, and here is where we make a reference. Okay, and look at the details. It is Xiaolong, so we'll write it here. Xiaolong et al. Have so the nickname for the article we just gave happens to be just the word article itself. That's not good. So what we do is we will give the name of the author followed by the 2 digits for the year, and then we would use the same thing to make a reference here. So here we would take reference same way, and then it would actually be able to use that new nickname. You can do this kind of a modification of the nicknames at any point. Make sure that what you have referred in the text is matching with what is there in the bib file. So here you can see Xiaolong et al. Have studied androcooling. The reference number is 3, and the article that we have just now picked up is listed in reference number 3 here with the full details formatted. Now this formatting is in a particular way which is called the plain simple formatting, where the authors names are used in the references to do a sorting, and not necessarily in the sequence of addition to the document. So what we can actually do is that change this to IEEE transactions format and recompile. So what it will do is that it will actually make it in the sequence that we have referred. Okay, so this is quite useful. So Wilde first reference, Xiaolong second reference, and the automatic reference that came with the template is third one. Okay, so it is in the same sequence that we have in the document. Okay, this is useful because as you now move the text back and forth, the reference sequences will be adjusted. You can illustrate that in the following manner. I move this text before, and now I expect that if I compile, Xiaolong's reference should be the first one. Okay, and you can then verify that it has come. Xiaolong's reference is the first one, Wilde's is the second one, as it appears in the text. So this kind of an automatic sequencing is taken care by LaTeX, and it's very useful, particularly when you write articles with large number of references. So now the next method to download the bibliographic items I will show using a website called Semantic Scholar. So Semantic Scholar is a website that uses artificial intelligence techniques to link up the various literatures data, and to also arrive at the most impactful references or citations, article, etc. You can create an account for yourself and log in, and that will actually give you a lot more features, and I have already done that with my Google account. And once you have your account, then it will allow you to map some of your own publications to a unique ID, etc. So let us search for the same keyword here, and you would also see a large number of articles that will be coming up. And if the authors have provided the full text, they will be available here, or if they are available on the website of the publisher for free, you can look at it. But definitely the abstract is available for you to read. And just like in Google Scholar, you have an ability to pick up the bibliographic information of an article. So let us say I want to talk about Professor Perepesco's article here, and then here there's a link called Cite. So click on that, and the bibliographic information is now available in the form of BibTeX or EndNote or other formats. And what is available is readily there in the BibTeX format. So it's already highlighted and kept ready for us. So we can just copy it and come to our overleaf document, open in the references file, go to the bottom and paste the article information. Now the nickname is a bit long, so I would shorten it to Perepesco 95. Okay, and come to the main text, and we now make a reference to that. You can say that Perepesco has published several articles in the topic of undercooling. Okay, and we pick up the item corresponding to that particular article and press the enter sign, and it's included. And when we compile it, you would see that this reference information has been entered automatically, and the number corresponding to the article is 3. So there's a third reference that we have included in the text. So in that way you can actually pick up articles from Semantic Scholar, read about them, and pick up the bibliographic information using the Cite button here, and include them in the document that you are preparing using Overleaf. Now Harvard University has a website where they have provided the literature information about astronomy and physics, and the indexing information for all these articles is also made available for free. And here you can actually also use to search for topics in the area of physics. Luckily the topic undercooling comes in the topic of physics, so you can search for that. And let us say we want to search for articles that contain in the abstract the word undercooling, and click on that, and you would see that there are several articles that will be listed. These are actually not necessarily only from the physics journals, they will also be from materials journals, and they will be listed as per the date. Okay, you can change that way of listing to citation based or author based, etc. So the most recent article will be on the top, and here also the same thing holds. You have the article, and you can click on it. You can look at the abstract and make up your mind whether you want to read this article further. And on the right hand side there is a link available to open the full text. If it is available from the journal for free, you can read it. Otherwise you will have to write to the authors and get it for you to read further. And let us say this article is something that is useful for you and you want to talk about it, then you can pick up the citation information of this article by clicking the link export citation on the left side. Click on that, and it can provide the information in a large number of formats, and our favorite one is BibTeX, so we would actually pick that BibTeX format here, and you can just copy paste. This I'm just copy, then paste that information in the references file at the bottom. You can keep appending like this indefinitely, so we'll pick it up there. And the nickname is a bit long, so I would change the nickname as Gino, for example, Gino 20. Okay, and come to the text and make a reference to that. So I will make a reference again in the same sequence. Gino et al. Have studied undercooling of magnetic materials recently. Okay, and I pick Gino 20 item and recompile. Okay, so once I recompile, you would see that the reference we just picked up is now available here at item number 4, and it is available as the fourth reference that is in the text. Okay, you can have other articles from this website, which is basically ADS website of the Harvard University. You can search for articles based upon various fields as given here, and pick up those articles, bibliographic information for free. The full text, of course, is subject to still availability from the respective publishers, but at least the citation information is available for you for searching for free. So one more source of literature items I would show you using the arXiv website, arxiv.org. So this is a website where physicists store the versions of their manuscripts before they send them for review, so that the timestamp on their original work is kept intact, and often these preprints are as good as the final publications, and we have ability to look at them, and all these preprints have a unique link also made available, so technically they are also eligible to be cited in an article. So you can actually start searching for a keyword. We will perform the same survey here also on undercooling, and let us look at the articles that come out. You could see that it lists various articles, and we can pick up some article, let us say this one here, and click on the link which says arXiv : and then the ID, and you can see the article, the abstract, read the abstract to see whether you want to read further, and the preprints are always available in full format, so you can click on the PDF or PostScript formats, download the full article and read it, and if the article is published, then that will also be known to us. Here on the right hand side is the link for this article on Google Scholar or Semantic Scholar, where you would actually know whether the article has been published in a journal later on. In any case, you can actually go ahead and start exporting the citation for this article by clicking here, and you can actually pick any format, and we pick the BibTeX format, and so the article information is readily available for us to copy paste in our document. So we copy that here, come to the references file, go to the bottom and paste, and we will keep the nickname shorter, Baker 20, and make a reference to that article here. So we can say that Baker et al. Have studied undercooling. Okay, and compile. So once you compile, you would see that the Baker's article is coming as the 5th bibliographic item, and in the references that article is also now cited here. Okay, so you can see that we are able to now include articles that we can pick up from arXiv.org website as well. So you would see that the arXiv website is very useful, however it is quite limited to the physics community. Lastly, I would like to show how to pick up bibliographic items from academia.edu website. So this website is also a site similar to ResearchGate, and you need to log in to look at the different items that are actually stored. A large collection of articles, I would say 120 million articles. So you can use your Google ID to log in. I have already signed up, so I'm able to get in now. And you can then start searching for articles using this search feature at the top left. So we type the same keyword, and you can then see that there are a lot of hits that will come up, quite a large number I would say, from the collection. And then we can actually look at the original articles, because most probably the author would have uploaded the preprint of that article, and you could then download that article to read, and the article will contain the bibliographic information at the top, and you can use that to enter the information into the bib file in Overleaf. So take for example here some article that is of interest. For example, here let us say download. Here you would see that the name of the journal of Alloys and Compounds, the volume 379, the year 2004, the page numbers 188 to 192 are given along with the title and the authors. This information is now sufficient for us to enter the bibliographic information manually into the bib file. So for that, what we would do is come to the references file, and at the end you could then add it manually. And once you do that, you are able to also include any other article that you may need for your literature survey, and that way you can actually comprehensively make your literature survey using sources that are available for free when you are at home trying to write up a document by looking at the literature. So we have looked at Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Semantic Scholar, Harvard website, Archive, and Academia. I think that these are sufficient to do a reasonable literature survey, particularly in the physics-based literature, and that will help you actually get going with some amount of reading when you are at home and not connected to your university resources for library. So you would now edit the text to make it a little bit more meaningful by writing some more comments on each of these articles, because you have read them. And then once you have finalized the article, you can actually recompile and see whether the output looks good enough for your write-up. And once it is done, then you can save a copy of the PDF document for yourself by clicking on this link, PDF. It will open up as a PDF file that you can save to your desktop, and you can then print it out and submit as required for your courses.